This program is an experiment to find out whether we can convey a new kind of emotional and intellectual experience we call radiophonic effect. It's a sort of modern magic.
Tristan, thanks for joining us. I'm excited to talk to you about your work. First of all, where in the world are you talking to us from?
I'm in France, on a little island of the west coast of France, because I live there for 10 years now. I was born and used to live in Paris, because first part of my life, I was, and I'm always a bass player, playing in a lot of bands, working on TV shows, things like that. And at a certain moment, maybe 15 years ago, I began to do more and more composition for movies, things like that. And I was doing most of the time some orders of music for other artists, for advertising, movies, and things like that. So I moved to a better place in front of the ocean, because I love surfing too. So I'm on this island for 10 years now, and I put my studio here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and you sent me a really nice note when you first started using Visibox, and I don't know, it was kind of early on. We hadn't been around for too long, and it was a nice confirmation, especially because the visuals that you're creating are very organic. Yes. I mean, the music that you're making is electronic, but analog. Yes, sure. And the visuals that you're creating, these oscilloscope images and CRT kind of visuals, is also organic, and that was one of the goals around Visibox as software. I'm a strong believer that that the medium influences the message. That when I sit down on an acoustic guitar, I'm going to make different music than if I sit down on an electric guitar. And likewise, if my visual software is very technical and complicated, it tends to lend itself to technical and complicated visuals. And so one of the goals around Visibox was to kind of keep it organic, such that it was easy to kind of be more improvisational and sort of inspired, more organic visuals. And yes, it's been really inspirational to see what you've been doing.
Totally. And the other thing is that if for one thing you need something complicated, you can do it too. But to manage in live, it's really easy. I have no computer on stage, except for Visibox, but in the music, I have no computer. And I have a big sequencer to manage Visibox, and it's in MIDI. So when I drop the B of the song, it sends the visual for the B. And for me, one of the great things of Visibox is the size of the clip you can use. Because sometimes I made some quite complicated morphing and moving clips, which may last 1 minute. And I can put them in Visibox, and it works
because it loops.
Because it loops, and and because you have no restriction about the size. It's exactly the same with for the audio with the sampler. There are some sampler you cannot put a sample more than 3 seconds. And for me, it's a problem, because I love to have some short clip. But if I need a 1 minute and 30 second clip, I can do it with Visibox, and for me, it's a massive weapon to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, that's nice. I'm glad it works.
And we did a big show a few days ago, and people were very impressed by the system. A lot of people asked me about Visibox. I went in a famous internet talk show in France. I talk about this software, and a lot of people ask me how I manage all the clip, and so I make advertising for you, because I'm really convinced about how it is brilliant. And on stage we got a camera operator, a director with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we use for the first time the transition with the fade in, fade out video. It was magic because, for example, I'm playing something on the Minimoog. The camera director is filming it, and at the end, he knows that I'm finishing the part. He goes on the diode on the light of the Minimoog. He makes some, I don't know how to say it in English, but you don't see clearly the diode.
Out of focus, yeah.
It's out of focus. And the next visual I put with Visibox is a red things with this kind of focus, and it comes to another way, and it goes somewhere else. And now people don't even see the transition between when it's the camera operator and when it's pre-record visuals, and that's magic. We had a lot of compliments about these things.
So talk to me about, how are you, so you're using camera clips in Visibox.
Yes.
And you're connecting the camera, that you've got a camera operator on stage.
Yes.
So that's connected to Visibox via USB. Is that like HDMI to USB?
I've got I will show you the classical, well, I don't know where I put it, but I got the classical Elgato.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the camera director has a camera with HDMI output.
Yeah.
So I go in Elgato, and it's managed by my I got a MacBook Pro M3.
Yep.
And the output, the HDMI output from my MacBook Pro goes in the screen.
Yep.
In the video projector, and I enter in MIDI in my to send the information to. It's very simple setup.
Mm-hmm.
It works really well. I had no. We did a few live now, and I've never had any problems. It's working really well. So the only problem I had one time, but I can manage it, it was because of Elgato, because sometimes when the concert is too long, Elgato is become very warm.
Interesting. Yeah.
And sometimes it go on working, but it goes to the camera of the MacBook. It changed the camera.
Uh-huh.
But now we know how to resolve it. We go fast, and but for the Visibox, it's really stable, and that's brilliant, because that's the main things. For example, Modulate on the same computer, it's a brilliant software. I love it to work, to create. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I have some bugs that I don't understand. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is I have no contact, and I have not a Jeff to call to say, hey, Jeff, help me. No, and I don't know why it happened. And I've got a powerful computer. It's a MacBook Pro M3 with 32 gigabyte of. It's a good computer. So and Visibox, no problem. And that. For musicians, for people playing live, you have so many things to worry about. The gear is the things you don't have to worry about.
Yeah. Some of that older software was, written for Intel processors, and either hasn't been fully ported or might not be correctly ported over to Apple Silicon, where we, being more recent, are well up to speed on the Apple Silicon. I want to talk about some of your other hardware that you're using on stage. So you've got like a modular synthesizer, kind of a EuroRack kind of stuff that you've got up on stage.
Yes.
We call it EuroRack here in the States. Is it called EuroRack in Europe as well?
It's the same word for in France. in EuroRack. With the typical French accent, it works.
And so you've got like control voltage running through between your devices. Yes. Somewhere you've got like a CV to MIDI converter that's converting to MIDI. And then that MIDI is going to Visibox. Is that correct? So you're able to trigger.
I've got a master controller of all my system because on stage, to sum up, we are two. And there is a live musician because as I'm coming from the live, I wanted for the live to have someone playing a lot of real things because I don't like electronic music with computer and nothing happening. Mm-hmm. I'm an old school guy coming from the jazz club, so I need to have a man on the Fender Rhodes with the ring modulator playing big solo. So I got my friends doing this job, and me, I play the bass with the Minimoog. And I've got this big modular system and a big sequencer called Circlon. Mm-hmm. And on this sequencer, I've got 5 MIDI output. The Circlon is the master clock of all my system. And one of the MIDI output from the Circlon is Visibox.
I see.
So the Circlon is the chief of all the gear, and it manages the modular system, all the things, including Visibox.
Okay, great. And so then it, is triggering the different clips at the different times in the song, exactly. Including the camera clips, which switch to your camera operator. And you figured out some choreography with the camera operator so that you know what's going to happen there. But you're able to get live footage up on the screen.
Exactly. And there is another great thing I love with Visibox. As I'm doing a live full analog, I don't want that people see a computer on stage. Mm-hmm. So the computer is hidden under the table in case I have a problem, because it's only for Visibox, the computer. And the great thing with Visibox is I don't have to care about the computer, because at the end of all songs, I can put this magic function to put the track after on the set list. Mm-hmm. I finish the clip, I put a note, and automatically the next song is ready to
queued up. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a magic function. I never touch the computer. Yeah. Never. So it's only with the sequencer, all is it's cool. So that's great. I don't have to go under the table and do a thing like that.
We're living the dream that is to hands off the computer. That's what we would all prefer. Yeah. What are you using for a projector? Are you just using the projector at the venue, or do you traveling with your own?
No, I have two configuration. I got a little projector for when I play in small club, mm-hmm. which is a small LG working with laser things.
Laser, yeah.
It's not a crazy projector, but it's for really small venue to have a small visual behind us, nothing mm-hmm. important. But most of the time we play in a room around 200 and 400 people. And for these things, we ask to have a powerful video projector. Mm-hmm. And when they have a screen, we keep the screen, but the things we prefer work with is the tissue, the tulle, with its transparency. So people with the light, they can see the place where you put the images. So as I do a lot of 3D things with oscilloscope, people really think things are flying in the air, and they don't see, and that's psychedelic.
Yeah. And so you've done that. So those are sometimes called a scrim, I believe, or it's kind of a net kind of material, or a screen. Exactly. And so it's, it's translucent. You can see through it. Exactly. You need a very strong projector, because you lose some of the projector light behind it. And then you also need to kind of angle the projector some so that it's not projecting right through to the wall behind, but it's a really magical thing when you can kind of get it all lined up correctly.
Totally. You need a very strong, that's why we ask to the venue, because it's very expensive projector. And now for the next show we are working on, it will happen in October, we do a new creation. We keep Visibox, but we will add a lot of TV on stage. And there will have some no computer video synthesis, but the camera operator will film the TV on, and we go through Visibox to go on the tool.
Wow! So you're using the on-stage TVs sort of as a video effect. CRT TV. Yeah. I saw some on your Facebook, I guess,
yes.
Where you've been experimenting with the old
well,
blurry TV stuff. Yeah, that's really cool. And to think that that's live, that it'll be live footage that yes. You're seeing. That's really
because with the modular, I can with the CV, I got some. I show you. I think last time we made this kind of module, or it's an homemade. It's in the
VHS tape.
But the module inside, you can put one audio enter, one video enter, and one output video. And it made some glitch linked
right.
to frequencies you send with the instruments. So it's really live. And I bought recently an old video game, Vectrex. Maybe you see this video game. It's like a big oscilloscope with a cathodic tube. And we make some drawing on that. And the camera operator will film live. With a special material to protect from the light,
mm-hmm.
and it will go direct on the screen.
Oh,
and
wow!
We will keep some pre-recorded footage
mm-hmm.
because the idea is to have a lot of relief in the concert. So a lot of different way to play with the images and the sound.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we, for the music, is the same. Sometimes we don't use any sequences. We just play.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there are a lot of sequences, and in order, the people who see the show are always, something new is happening. That's the idea.
Cool. Yeah. So you're keeping. I mean, this is your jazz background. You're keeping it improvisational. You're keeping it live on stage.
We love to improvise.
Yeah. And that sort of controlled randomness, the yes. randomness is nice, but you don't want to put up AI generated random stuff, live.
I don't love AI.
Yeah. You want to control it and keep it organic. I like that.
And I like defaults. I love defaults. In music, it's that makes things human. That's things that touch people. It's that something is not, it's not perfect, but it's human.
Right. To keep it human. Yeah. I want to talk more about the oscilloscope stuff that you're doing and the oscilloscope technology, because I really wasn't that familiar with this before I started talking with you. So you are basically creating vector graphics on an oscilloscope using sound. What is that technology called, and how are you doing this?
It's oscilloscope music, but I will tell you the story about that. I made a trainee to progress in audio synthesis with a guy, and the guy, to explain us the waveform, he had an old analogic oscilloscope with him, and it was perfect to understand the difference between a sinusoid, a square wave, and things like that. And I was totally fascinated by the green light of mm-hmm. this machine. So I tried to find one. And in France, that was a tool we use at school to understand electricity, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's not in the school thing. So you can go at the, I don't know how to say it in English, but somewhere where people trash all things,
Yeah.
There's a lot of all the CRTs perfectly working in oscilloscope you can take.
Mm-hmm.
So I take one, and I take two oscillators. I put one X and one Y, and playing with the tuning of each, I begin to make some totally psychedelic and beautiful things, and it was my first step into this world. And after I was interested by, I discovered on internet the work of a guy called Jerome Fenderson, an American guy, I think, who created this brilliant project called Music for Oscilloscope.
Mm-hmm.
And they took the things in reverse. They make some draw, and they find what was the frequencies needed to have this drawing on the oscilloscope. And as they built some software where you can put an images, use a vector application, and it gives you the sound of this, and you put this sound in the oscilloscope, and it's drawing. That's the first part. And after, the playground is that I open a Pro Tools session, standard session Pro Tools, and I put, instead of having all the instrument, bass, kick, and things like that, I put a lot of sound drawing, and I mix them. And when you mix a square with a face of a people, the face become a square, the square makes it fade out, and it's only sound, and you put this sound on the oscilloscope, and it's drawing. So it was the beginning of the journey.
An exciting visual journey of sound.
Yes. And I contact a lot of people working, engineers, things like that. And I'm working, as we are talking now, the link between the people who create the tool and what we can do with it. I think I love this way of work because we can do great things because you have the knowledge of I don't have, and we can exchange and make the perfect tool together because we work with the same purpose, which is doing something very useful for concrete artistic use.
Yeah. I mean, when you're developing software like Visibox, it's a lot of coding and it's a lot of ones and zeros but being able to talk to our users about how they're using it and what they're doing, what they're hoping to do has been really helpful to both keep us on track in terms of like knowing that it's getting out there and it's being used, but also to sort of drive the direction of the software development and stuff like that. So that's been super rewarding. So the other thing about the oscilloscope music stuff is that you can add like delay effects or EQ or even like phasing and chorusing, and it will affect the visual almost as you would expect. At least the YouTube videos I've been watching, I have yet to get myself an oscilloscope and start experimenting with it. But
that's great because you make a draw. You got your draw on your oscilloscope. Sometimes a draw with a lot of details, the sound is not really good. So I have. On my system, I have two sound circuits, the sound you hear and the sound you don't hear. The sound you don't hear allow me to create very complex visuals, but it's modulated by the sounds you hear. For example, I have a square and I put the input of the kick inside. Each time the kick is coming, the square is moving like that. And that's the principle I'm using for the visual. So it's always linked with the music. And the thing is cool. We can do this live. And when we do it live with a oscilloscope and with the camera, the guy from the camera filming it, and it's going on the screen with Visibox, it's really live. It's people when they see a show, I think they really feel, even if they don't understand, they know when it's live because there's something in the air happening that that something real is happening. You know what it is.
Well, and this is a challenge with electronic music is how do you keep it feeling live?
Yes.
And visuals have historically been when you think of like a Daft Punk or something like that, like, the visuals are very integrated into it. There's something about pre-recorded spectacular. If you think of like, if you're in a room with a bunch of robots who are programmed to dance, like it is spectacular, but it's questionably live, and there's sort of somewhere in between of sort of this organic, more human kind of feel that's an interesting balance to
it's a question of taste. Some people they are happy to see a guy with a computer say
right. Yeah.
I can criticize that if they like it, but that's not the things I'm searching. And I try to see the electronic music as I always took this example, but Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Pink Floyd,
yep.
They were doing a lot of electronic music with analog gear, with visuals, and I like this idea of having only analog things, of playing a lot of things, to have this texture sound electronic, but with something warm and something real.
Yeah. So with Pink Floyd, there was a lot of it was like film that was being projected at the shows. Yes. And in order to stay in time with the film, oftentimes they would have a click track on the film, and so they could play, or they'd maybe put the synthesizers on the film soundtrack, so that it would all sort of happen in time with each other. I don't know exactly how Pink Floyd did it, but that was sort of the techniques that were happening in the 70s, having talked to other people doing similar kinds of things. Do you have any sound coming out of Visibox, or is Visibox more reacting to the music rather than the other way around?
For the next show, I found something I'm really proud of. I will use a Visibox sound, but not in the way you can imagine it. I have all my video clip, and for example, I have all the oscilloscope video clip, and I keep the sound of the oscilloscope on the clip, the sound which is not beautiful to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a headphone output on my computer, and this headphone output goes into the oscilloscope. So at the same time, I got the big screen with the oscilloscope draw, and the sound with the oscilloscope, which is on Visibox, is going in all the oscilloscope, know?
Mm-hmm.
So I use the sound of Visibox, but you can't hear it. But for me, it's very useful
to keep everything playing in sync.
To have because the sound the sound of the oscilloscope is like something like that, and it goes in the headphone output from my computer, going in the hardware and making it work.
That's wild.
After I never use kind of playback sound from Visibox, because that's not the way I want. I do my best to do it, all the things I can live.
Right, and you're not playing too pre-recorded.
Yes, I don't music. Want the tracks we are doing, they are never the same size. If the Fender Rhodes guy, I want to do a 5-minute solo, it can go like that. So having some playback sound will not work with my live.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. It's funny. I think of the Fender Rhodes as kind of a French instrument for some reason. Maybe it's because of the band Air.
Yes.
It's kind of it reintroduced me to the Fender Rhodes. I was like,
it's a beautiful instrument.
Yeah. Yeah, like, when it was like Foreigner in the late 1980s creating music with the Fender Rhodes, I was like, I don't think this is the instrument for me. But then Air brought it back. So,
yes. Yeah. We got a Fender Rhodes and a Wurlitzer aussi.
Yeah.
Wurlitzer.
Yeah, Wurlitzer's great too. So talk to me about, like, if we were to look at your Visibox project, you're talking about a lot of like camera clips that are happening on stage, filming oscilloscopes, filming your modular synthesizers, and stuff like that. But what are the pre-recorded, or the video clips or image clips that are happening in Visibox as part of your show?
You mean how I build it, where I found it?
Yeah. What's the media that you're using? No. You're also you mentioned VDMX. No, you mentioned Modulate.
Modulate.
And so you're creating video clips that you're using in your show. But what are those?
We got a common things. We go to archive.org.
Yeah.
And I got an easy tricks. I advise to all the people who will see this video. It's to go in archive.org. And in the keywords, you make a public domain.
Yeah.
And you access to all the video. And I saw the video with the eyes.
Yeah.
From there, because I use it. I use this kind of movie. And this is the beginning of the story. I take this free movie and I put it in a lot of different things. Sometimes I put it in video synthesis with the module I show you with things like that to transform. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I put it in modulate to create some root etra effects, things like that. And I built all my little clip like that to put in a Visibox. And for the moment, as I have 1 hour and a half of show, I haven't the time to create all the movies. Mm-hmm. So I bought for a few tracks some license on Resolume. Mm-hmm. Resolume. There are some visual artists who are selling license.
Yeah.
So for 2 or 3 tracks, I bought them. I will replace it with the time, but for now, it helped me to have a video on all the clip, because it's quite long to build his own our own video. It takes some time.
Yeah. The archive.org. In particular, there's a section called the Prelinger Archive. I don't know if I've ever said that word out loud, but it's a collection of public domain visuals that are particularly interesting and kind of weird. And there's a lot of like government created training videos for the military or for schools. And one of the interesting things about the government created stuff, at least in the United States, and I don't, at least in the 1950s and 60s, was that because the public paid for it, it became public domain content, and so you can use it for license free. And actually, we put out a video pack recently that we're calling the Visibox Science Pack or something like that.
I have it, and I use it. Yes, I use it. I will send you what I did with this video, because I put it in Modulate and made a lot of modification, but it's work. It's one. There is one track with all this pack from Visibox.
Yeah, and and it's like I said, it's license free, so you can use it in public shows, commercial shows, all you want, and you are legally covered.
Yes,
you are a legal human being. And you said you also have gotten some video packs for Resolume, and you using those as well. Yeah,
it was the starting point, because when I have the first show, I thought it will be easy to make 1 hour and a half of, but it was not at all what I thought. And so I begin to buy some. It's not very expensive. You can buy some license. You have some beautiful pack. And I begin like that. And with time, I'm always working on new visuals. And now I'm going deep in video synthesis. And a friend of mine who built some synthesizer is making me a special tool to film the oscilloscope and all the things like that.
Oh, okay.
With no light, and to have a image. images that I will use with my Visibox tools. So I'm doing a lot of things before and after. Everything is in the things is cool with Visibox. It's a player. So you don't people will not know what is happening. They will not know what you're using. And I like this idea because, for example, I take the example of Modulate. I love Modulate, but Modulate, now I know who is using Modulate. Most of the time you can know when someone is using Touch Designer. It's very, they have a strong identity.
Yep.
But Visibox, it's a player. So it takes what you give him to what you feed.
Yeah.
So that's great because it's a good tool doing what you want it to do, and there is no print that say, "Oh, he's using Visibox." You don't know.
Well, this is what I was talking about, that oftentimes the tool that you use influences the creativity that you make. And, we wanted Visibox to be very low common denominator and not really dictate how you do what you do. It sometimes means that we don't do as much as the others, but we're adding features as we go. And that's exciting to offer new capabilities to people. So, talk to me about the future of your work. You're still making music for film? Yes, I'm
always in my economic system. I can do all my crazy thing with the TV, but it's not bringing enough money. So I work a lot for movie soundtrack. I'm doing three movies for in the next months, and each time I have a little free time, I go with my CRT and my Visibox. But the good things is I begin to be called for what I'm doing. So we got a few interesting concerts coming, maybe a label for the next album. And some people from movie world called me we saw you do things with oscilloscope. We are trying to do some video synthesis. And I begin to have a little work on this side too. So it's a mix between all that things. So I work a lot. I spend my time to work, but I really enjoy it. So
well, that's exciting. Well, we'll put up some clips of your performances and stuff like that to give people a flavor of what they can see if they come to a Tristan Bres show. That's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about all of this, and hopefully people.
Thank you so much to have built this wonderful software.
You're welcome. I did it exactly so that I could have conversations like this with creative people like you, and that we can all sort of inspire each other to create more cool stuff. So
yes, that's great. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
Yeah. Thanks, Tristan.
Thanks.